Your friend is a serial cheater and they're getting married. Do you think the partner deserves to know?
Hey everybody, this is Bianca and Grace. We are kicking off with another episode from our advice column series where this time we're getting a little more specific and sharing real life scenarios about dating that we're going to react to and share our opinions about.
So the first topic is your friend is a serial cheater and they're getting married. Do you think the partner deserves to know?
So, first question on this, do you know if your friend has cheated on the partner that they're getting married to?
You don't know. Does it matter?
Man. So I think in this situation, because the cheater is my friend, there is a finer line that I need to sow here, versus if it was the other way around and my friend was the one that was marrying the person that was a serial cheater. I think what I would do in this situation is, because I'm not as close to the fiancé, I wouldn't actively go out of my way to be like, hey, my friend is a serial cheater, I think you should reconsider, because there is an element of like, I'm closer to the one that cheated.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, someone who is a cheater is completely against my values, and so I actually feel like I would not even try to be close with that friend. So I would probably distance myself, but also at the same time, I wouldn't say anything to his fiance because I don't know her that well. Yeah.
Do you feel like you would try, like at what point do you feel like you have the moral obligation to tell the person? Only if you're friends with them?
Yeah, I think there's a side of me where in relationships, there is so much that I feel like I should get into the business of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if it's someone who I don't really know that well or I'm not very close to, then I don't want to get involved, because I feel like getting involved could lead to very messy circumstances. But I feel like I would morally want to tell them if I was close to them. And in this situation, I am not close to them, and so I probably wouldn't say anything.
What if you're now friends with the partner because they've been in your friend group now?
If I was now friends with the partner, I think I would tell her or him.
Even if you were originally friends with the other one?
Yeah. And then I think ultimately I would distance myself from that friendship.
Okay.
With the person who was a serial cheater.
So it depends on how close and friendly you are with the person being cheated on.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I would stay silent no matter what.
No matter what?
I think I would stay silent no matter what. I think if it was my friend who was being cheated on,
yeah,
I would, only in the scenario of where I'm 100% sure that my friend has been cheated on, would I even say something, and that would just be to try to confirm whether they know or not. Because if they already know and they're deciding to go into it of their own free will, fine. Otherwise, I would stay entirely silent.
Follow-up question on that. So you mentioned that you would probably try to subtly check to see if the partner knows that their partner is a serial cheater. What are ways that you would do that?
I think I would probably try to check if other friends of these people have talked about it before or are aware or know of it. I think mainly because I don't want to be the one causing drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if they are committed enough to get married to each other.
And maybe another way is asking them their views on cheating. Yeah. I think that's a way to bring it up, and then see if they're open enough to share. And I feel like if they're adamantly against cheating, then they probably don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you think people can change, or do you think once a cheater, always a cheater?
I think once a cheater, always a cheater.
I think that too.
Yeah, because I do think there's a baseline moral compass that people have, and if they've cheated before, especially if they're a serial cheater, that means they haven't learned their lesson at all. So what's the chance that they won't ultimately cheat on the fiance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, scenario 2. Your sister is a serial cheater and she's getting married. you told her that she has to tell, or you will tell her future husband. She says that she will, but you find out that she never did. And then you tell her future husband right before the wedding. Is this wrong? Does your family tie trump the moral obligation of whatever good or bad or right or wrong of cheating?
That is so hard. I feel like with family tied in, there's like no way that you can, like, you can break your tie with your family, but that is a much harder thing to do than a friend. I think in that situation, I probably won't say anything.
Are you in the wrong for saying something?
I wouldn't be in the wrong, but because she's my sister and she's family, and I am closer to her, of course, than her fiance, I probably won't say anything.
I agree. I think that's a situation of if you said something, you're doing too much.
Yeah. All right, question for you. How do you know if a guy is taking you seriously? Like, say if you're dating someone and in the texting phase, but they haven't asked you on a date yet, and when a date topic does come up, they're kind of like flaky about it. What would you do in that situation?
I would stop talking to him. I think it's obvious that he's not taking you seriously.
So what are signals to show that someone is taking you seriously?
I think one of them is if they consistently make plans. I think the other one is so everyone is like limited in their resources, whether that be time, money, like energy, all of these things. If they are making the effort out of one of their most limited resources to commit to you, that's when you know they're taking you seriously.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if they are like, they have a ton of time on their hands, so they make time to see you all the time, that's not necessarily the best indication of commitment.
In texting phase, I also can judge based off how curious they are, like the types of questions that they ask, to get to know you on a deeper level. I think that's how I would know. But if these two factors aren't there, like what you mentioned, and the curiosity is not there, then I would just end it with that person.
And if they remember things about you, I think that's one way.
Yeah,
the curiosity shows.
Yeah, that's a great one. All right, next scenario. So another common one around boyfriends liking Instagram models and just like constantly following them online. Curious your thoughts on what would you do in this situation?
I don't think it's morally wrong, but I think it's a bit pathetic. So I would probably try to figure out like how often does he do this and why do you think he's doing this? And then I would probably, if it bothered me, I would probably have a conversation with them.
Why do you think it's pathetic on the guy's part?
Because why are you doing this on the internet? Why can't you just interact with your real life friends and people? I think the controversial piece is like, is it pathetic for girls to like really have idols or like K-pop bands that they really obsessed with and like follow a lot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe.
It's almost like, say if I were to flip this around, like if it was the girl and she was liking a bunch of like Instagram models, I feel like in that sense, like it's probably okay, like on both sides. If someone admired like a celebrity or someone admired like a public figure. Okay. But I think the question for me is how sexual those photos are.
Yeah, what if it was like a bunch of like swimsuit people?
Yeah, if it was a bunch of swimsuit people, very like provocative.
Yeah.
I think that's where I would consider that a red flag, because it's like, why are they doing that? Is there like some unmet need? I would question like also like potentially how invested or interested they are in me personally.
What do you do if they won't stop? Is it a deal breaker?
It depends. I would like to understand with the person if this is like an addiction to them, or if it's kind of like a one-off, like very occasionally.
Okay, they're addicted.
If they're addicted, then I think it's a deal breaker.
Yeah. If most other things were normal, I think I would be like a little weird, but okay, fine.
I do think it depends on the context of everything. Like there's, like I would also evaluate the relationship as a whole.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, if I feel like in all other areas, like he's invested, like the relationship is good and you feel strong about it, then maybe this small thing is considered minor.
Okay.
But in the context of like maybe already a rocky relationship and maybe like in the real world he is looking at other people, talking about other people, or has had some suspicious behaviors, and in addition he's looking at like provocative photos, then I think that's definitely a red flag.
Let me flip the script on you. Do you think it makes women, or do you think it's justified for women to be insecure or upset about something like this?
I think it's on a spectrum, like what I was saying. If it depends on the extent of it and also the context of your relationship.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like it is justified if the person is like in all realms of your relationship displays this type of behavior in some way.
Okay. Another fairly common issue or scenario, what do you do if you don't like one of your significant other's friend groups, or if you don't like one of your significant other's friends? So I think a very common TV trope, for example, recently in The Summer I Turned Pretty, like Belly, the main character, doesn't like one of the friend groups of her Jeremiah because of their behaviors, general behaviors of like drinking, smoking, their attitudes towards women.
If I was not happy with a friend group, I would have to talk with my significant other and share like how I feel uncomfortable by the certain specific actions or behaviors that friend group has. Because I do believe that a person is a product of like the 5 people that they're surrounded by with, and I feel like if there's certain things that I don't agree with, then I wouldn't be comfortable if my SO was also surrounded by that or agreed with doing those behaviors as well. So in that situation, I would have the conversation with my SO and see how he reacts to it. If he reacts like in a gaslighting fashion, then I would consider that a red flag.
Expect them to stop being part of that friend group?
I don't expect them to. I would expect them to likely distance themselves though.
So if they don't distance themselves, is that a deal breaker?
I would like to see how his behavior is. If he still is like a fine human being and doesn't get influenced by those things, then I probably wouldn't end a relationship at that point, but I would basically observe and see how it influences him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my take is that it would be a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, well, it depends on if it's his or her primary friend group or not.
Yeah.
If it's just a tangential friend group that they probably see like once every few weeks, fine. If it's like their main friend group, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the chances are, if they are the main friend group, that is like the 5 people that's surrounding.
That is who they are, and that is
are.
their values. And
Yeah.
if you have an issue with it, then
Okay, so how about another situation where you're not happy with a specific friend of your significant other? So for example, that friend is like very, very narcissistic, always downplays your significant other's accomplishments, and just generally bad energy. What would you do in that situation?
I think I would personally maintain distance and talk to my significant other once or twice about this person, and if it's their choice to continue being friends with that person, I would leave it.
Mm-hmm. I feel like your friends should be positive influences, and they should be happy about your accomplishments. Otherwise, they're probably the jealous type or more self-centered, and I think that type of friendship is very toxic. And so in that situation, I would explain why that friendship may not be the best, and yeah, from there I would let them make the decision on whether they want to keep that friendship or not.
I think it's easier when it's singular friends versus friend groups.
Yeah.
Because if it's a singular friend, then you can specifically choose to not interact with this person But if
Yeah.
it's a friend group, that becomes much more difficult. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to episode 2. If you have any reactions or scenarios that you would like for us to talk about, please DM us or leave it in the comments, and we will be sure to include it in the next video.